The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, NXT Review.
And we are live to tape on the W2M Network with the Wrestling to the Max NXT review for August 8th, 2018. Good evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening, everybody. I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. Join me at this time, the Adam Cole.
Baby.
To my Ricochet, Brandon Biskobing.
I'm fine with that one.
One and boom.
No.
This song is catchy.
Yeah, it is. I'll admit it.
All right, I don't got a whole lot of time to spend, Brandon, so what do you say we get right into this, shall we?
Let's do it.
Usually we sit here and goof off for a little bit at the start of these shows, but unfortunately time is of the essence today. Our opening contest, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
It's actually not an opening contest because there's a video package first, but it's just detailing what's going on with Gargano, Ciampa, and Aleister Black, so you already know the story there if you've been listening to the reviews, which you can find on W2Mnet.com as well as in your various podcast listening places, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, CastBox, Podbean, Stitcher, and, hey, Brandon, guess what?
Spotify is here.
And Glacier is coming. Now, our opening contest, scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Is Sanity's, what's the word? Twisted Sister, I believe, is the phrase they used for her.
Yeah.
Nikki Cross is apparently still going to be staying down in NXT after all, as she takes on Amber Nova.
I don't get that, but okay.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by it as well.
Especially because wasn't she was on the house show tour with SmackDown.
Not only was she on the house show tour, but they did when they did the Evolution is a Mystery announcement.
Oh, yeah. She was front and center.
Front and center with the other women, so I was a little bit surprised at the fact that but these were taped a couple of weeks ago, so this might be her last appearance.
That's true. But you would think normally the formula seems to be in NXT, if you're going out, you go out by putting a newer person over.
Well, but this is a person right now who's brand new to the company here. This is Amber Nova, who I believe this is only like the second time we've seen her. And she's also recently been on Impact Wrestling in the similar role to what she was here, as in 3 minutes and 24 seconds, The Purge, the moss-covered three-handled family Grisunda, the twisting fisherman's neckbreaker, as it would be best known, finishes Amber Nova at 3:24. I'm trying to find the comment that I made to one of my friends about who Amber Nova reminded me of. I don't know if I sent it to you as well, but I know I sent it to Patrick. So you go ahead and tell me your thoughts on this match here while I look for that comment.
I mean, it wasn't really, there wasn't really much to talk about. It was pretty much a squash. And it's kind of interesting. I mean, we talked about it already, but it's going to be interesting to see where they go with Nikki Cross now. Is she staying on NXT by herself? Is she going to come up? Is she going to rejoin Sanity? I would hope that. I think they're going to need pretty much all hands on deck for Evolution anyway. But with how she was, front and center, to my surprise, and I think to a lot of people's surprise, during the Evolution announcement, there's no way that you can't not have her there, right?
I would think so. I found it.
Okay.
Amber Nova facially is Rebby Sky before the weight gain.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. It's the first thing that popped in mind when I saw her. A video package for Keith Lee, who debuts a little bit later on this evening, airs here, and we are all invited to bask in Ma.
Sorry?
Thank you. Just teeing you up with a softball there.
Sorry.
1 and, well, about that. No match for Ricochet.
Nope.
Ricochet proceeds to get his ass jumped by the Undisputed Era and laid out by Adam Cole.
Bang bang!
Cole calls Ricochet a loser and declares himself the one and only North American champion, which it will stay that way at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. These two are going to tear it up next Saturday night.
Oh, yes, they are.
For the point of reference, we're doing this on Friday just due to scheduling conflicts, but don't worry. We're still before the go-home. We got plenty of time there, so you can listen to us, go back and watch this if you want to, and then get yourself ready for the go-home episode of NXT Television next Wednesday. All right. Vanessa Bourne backstage talks to the camera people, not necessarily the interviewer chick, about facing Taynara Conti for the last spot in the Mae Young Classic, stating that a tournament as important as the Mae Young Classic can't take place without her. Whoop. Sorry, I have the hiccups. We'll find out if that's accurate a little bit later on in the show. Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is the NXT television debut of Adrian Jauode, the former mixed martial artist who has a black belt in several different degrees. He takes on Oh no. And that is exactly what Jauode was saying at the end of this match, as they're calling it the Dream Crusher in NXT. Longtime Ring of Honor fans know it as the Death Blow.
Yeah.
2 minutes and 53 seconds later, it's Night Adrian Jauode. Anything?
I mean, I would have liked to have seen, and I know it's his TV debut and everything, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more out of Jauode. I'm definitely going to be interested to see what they do with him moving forward. And it's nice to see Ohno get a win back.
Well, what it is they always have him beat the people he's supposed to beat, and then he loses to the people you'd expect him to lose to. It's basically glorified JTTS.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think in NXT, you need somebody like an Ohno that's a gatekeeper for that next level of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the next level of NXT, segue! As Velveteen Dream and EC3 have a summit, and Velveteen Dream wears what may be the most ridiculous outfit this side of gold dust in pro wrestling history. What the hell was that?
It was hilarious, that's what it was.
What did you make of the segment? Because I've seen a lot of people split differently here. Some people loved it. Some people hated it. Some people thought it was very in character for both of them. Other people thought it was too campy. Where did you fall here?
I liked it. You know, I think everyone knew that someone was going into the pool, but it was kind of, it was funny how they teased it and then, got it reversed on him. Some of the stuff didn't quite hit the mark, but, overall it was a good segment. I liked it.
I thought it was interesting that they were able to kind of play off their characters as well as they did, but that being said, this isn't the type of camp that you usually come to expect from NXT, which is why I understand why it would off-put certain people as well. I personally enjoyed it. I thought they stayed very true to their characters, so it didn't so much bother me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get that some people, a lot of the, wrestling purists who want, just wrestling and whatnot don't like these types of, outside of the arena area segments. But I'm fine with it. It as long as it builds a feud and whatnot, it worked.
Our third contest, scheduled for one
fall,
is the NXT television debut of the Limitless Keith Lee and the NXT television debut of the former Axel Dieter Jr., now known by his real name in NXT, Marcel Barthel.
Huh. I did not know that was...
Axel Dieter Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, so for all the hype that Keith Lee has gotten, were you surprised that he went kind of 50-50 here with Dieter?
Yeah. I mean, I was expecting this to be much more of a squash than it was. Honestly, this is the type of match that I was expecting Ohno and Jauode to have. And this match to be more of, the squash, not full squash, but, more of a, one-sided affair, than it was.
Nope, I don't smell squash. What do you make of Keith Lee? I don't know how much independent wrestling you get to watch.
I haven't,
based on your schedule, but what do you make of the Limitless Keith Lee?
I haven't really seen anything of his because, in terms of indie stuff, I don't know if you really want to call it indie, but, the only outside of WWE stuff that I really follow is Ring of Honor and New Japan.
And he hasn't appeared for either of them.
Exactly. So I haven't seen him at all. But I liked him. I'm definitely going to want to see more to get a full opinion on him, but so far I like what I've seen.
I think we're going to need to see him in a showcase match in order to allow us to see his full arsenal.
Exactly. I have a feeling we're probably going to get a few squash matches, and then we'll get some sort of feud with him and someone down the road. Definitely not at Brooklyn.
I've heard good things about Marcel Barthel, the former Axel Dieter Jr. That being said here, I think that maybe saving him to debut in and of himself down the road might have been the way to go here.
Yeah.
And you could have put out somebody like a Sean Maluda, like a Fabian Eichner for Keith Lee to face, and put over who he is, what he does, and what he's capable of to the crowd. His finishing move, that Ground Zero, the Death Valley driver into the Power Slam, was really nice.
Oh, yeah. I like what I see so far, but it's funny what you just mentioned right there. It's like, unless you're on 205, everyone else who was signed from the CWC is a jobber in NXT.
Hey, they're probably just happened to be pulling paychecks, homie.
True.
Tanera Conti walks. She faces Vanessa Bourne in our next contest. However, before that, we see the return to the screen of the Street Profits in vignette form as we're back with Street Talk, where they make fun of the mighty. This came off very Crime Time to me, and I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's going to be the thing about Street Profits, and it's going to get even worse when they get called up. I feel like they are like a weird... They're a weird combination of like Crime Time and New Day.
Like, they're both competent wrestlers, and Montez Ford really impresses me. Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily know if this gimmick's going to work with the main roster fans, because they've seen something similar to it before.
I think it would, just because both of them have charisma. As long as they're used properly and they're not made into a complete joke, I think it'll get over. But, I mean, that's the case with a lot of the gimmicks in NXT right now. I mean, the other one that I'm already knowing that, it's gotten over in NXT, but I know it's going to get bastardized on the main roster is Velveteen.
Our next contest, scheduled for one fall, is the Mae Young Classic qualifying match between Tanera Conti and Vanessa Bourne. Yikes. This was rough.
Mm-hmm.
I like Vanessa Bourne. I think there's potential there. She's a beautiful woman. She's coming along in the ring. And as long as she continues to improve and get better, then I won't have any complaints there. She has the same dancing background that one of my favorite divas of past recent history, Layla, had. Mm-hmm. Former NBA dancer, former cheerleader, turned WWE, NXT in this case, superstar. Taynara Conti is a judoka, which is a similar vein to the line that Ronda Rousey went through before turning to the world of sports entertainment. Rousey was just significantly more famous with hers.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, despite the fact that these two definitely get along, and you can tell that they get along just because of the way that they were trying to get over their passion of not wanting to hurt their friend, but knowing that they had to go all out in order to get into the tournament, this was sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, wasn't Conti in the Mae Young Classic last year?
They both were.
Oh, they both were. Okay.
Both of them went out in the first round last year. If you give me a chance, you can give me your story here, and I will find the results from the first Mae Young Classic and tell you to who.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if it was, lack of, not so much chemistry, but, lack of practice or what, but, yeah, I'm just hoping that these two both put on a better performance in the future. I definitely have high hopes for Conti because I liked what she was doing. I didn't watch much of. I pretty much just watched the finals for the first Mae Young Classic, so I didn't see her in her one match. But what would be kind of cool, and I was hoping that she was going to do it, although I'm sure, especially in wrestling, it might be a little trickier. But it would be kind of cool to see her kind of do, I'm trying to think if anyone's ever done this, but have her actually compete in her gi.
Well, she came out to ringside in it, but she didn't actually wear it for the match.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Actually keep it on and wear it during the match.
Can confirm in both instances, Vanessa Bourne went out in the first round to Serena Deeb. Taynara Conti went out in the first round to Lacey Evans.
Oh, okay.
Deeb and Evans were both eliminated in the second round. So now you know.
Yes.
But anywho, back to the conversation we were having about this match here. Yeah, it's definitely going to take some more seasoning for both of these ladies here. Conti gets into the tournament. We'll find out with the brackets and stuff what she's going to end up doing, which brings us to something that you and I need to discuss possibly off air about whether or not we're going to do the Mae Young Classic as part of our coverage here for NXT.
Yeah, especially considering the scheduling this time around.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Since we basically do a 2-hour show every week in SmackDown anyway.
Yeah.
Honestly, adding the Mae Young Classic to the end of the NXT review wouldn't be that difficult, and it's not like this show's going to suck as badly as the MMC did.
Yeah.
Because, my bad, y'all. That one's on me. Our main event scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Is Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano, except it's not scheduled for one fall because it goes to a no contest thanks to Tommy Entertainment. First of all, can I just point out what a glorious asshole he is to call himself that?
Well, of course, that's the joke. That's the whole thing.
It's fantastic, though. Who does that? It's wonderful.
Well, it kind of shows, not just for Ciampa, but it also shows overall for NXT, for Triple H, it shows that he knows what the audience that he's bringing in is.
They want the wrestling fans, so he's going to call himself Tommy Sports Entertainment.
Exactly.
As I mentioned, we go to a no contest at 2.5 minutes here, and the brawl between all three breaks out. Angry NXT dad turned to general manager William Regal's like, enough of this rubbish. Not those exact words, but my point stands. And makes the announcement for the championship match at NXT TakeOver. It will be Tommaso Ciampa defending for the first time ever at a TakeOver in a triple threat against Johnny Gargano and Aleister Black. Yeah, well, about that. So what happened was Aleister Black and Tommaso Ciampa were having a match on an NXT house show.
Mm-hmm.
Aleister Black went up to the top rope. Tommaso Ciampa groined him, as I'm sure has happened hundreds of times in Aleister Black's career.
Mm-hmm.
This time it didn't quite go so well. Aleister Black quite literally busted his balls Mahoney. They work it into a storyline where Regal shows up on screen and announces that Aleister Black has been found unconscious and has been pulled from the main event of NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4. And you are going to get your wish, Brandon.
Yes, I know.
The new announced main event for TakeOver Brooklyn 4, the match that was originally supposed to main event TakeOver Chicago. Tommaso Ciampa defends the NXT Championship against Johnny Gargano in Last Man Standing.
I was obviously, my hope was for like the first ever NXT Hell in a Cell or something like that, but Last Man Standing will work.
It'll do in a pinch.
I'd rather, well, honestly, just because of how personal this feud has been and everything, I would have preferred them doing like an I Quit match or something like that.
I think the Last Man Standing kind of gets the point of neither one of them wanting to stay down at the hands of the other, though, especially with the way of the carding out finish on at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Both the original attempted card out of Ciampa off of the air raid crash off of the speaker, and then the actual carding out of Gargano off of the neck injury sustained on the rope hanging DDT onto the exposed canvas.
That's true.
So I actually like the idea behind Last Man Standing here.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll officially wrap us up for this week's episode of NXT TV. Scale of 1 to 10, Brandon, where do you fall?
I'll give it a 7. The Kassius Ohno and Jauode match was good, but I thought I would have liked to have seen more. The Keith Lee match was also, it was fun to see him come in and show what he can do. The women's matches, the Nikki Cross match, was just pretty much a squash. And the Vanessa Bourne match against Conti, I think I'm hoping that they do better in the Mae Young Classic, and for Conti and then for Bourne moving forward in NXT. That was the one thing that kind of pushed it down a little bit for me. And then the main event obviously was mostly just to drive, what was going to be a triple threat, but now obviously can't.
Okay, so I'm going to go kind of match by match here. I'm giving the show a 6.
Okay.
Which is low for NXT standards, but I'm going to explain here. Nikki Cross and Amber Nova was the definition of unnecessary.
Yes.
Nikki Cross, nothing left to do in NXT. There is no reason to be giving her squash matches on television here. There are other women on the roster who could have used that spot a lot more than Nikki Cross could.
Mm-hmm.
Kassius Ohno and Adrian Jauode, I appreciate for Kassius' perspective. It's unfortunate for Jauode because it kind of sets him up as a little bit of a relegated jobber, similar to the position that Sean Maluda and Fabian Eichner find themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohno needs these kind of victories in order to keep himself relevant when they need somebody to beat him in order to get them to that next level.
That's true.
Keith Lee and Marcel Barthel, a misstep for Keith Lee. It was good for Barthel, though, so I'm going to kind of call that a wash.
Mm-hmm.
Conti and Vanessa Bourne may have been the worst match on NXT. And I understand why they had to... Apologies for the technical difficulties there. Every now and then my Wi-Fi gets a little shifty. Vanessa Bourne and Tanera Conti might have been the worst match in recent NXT history, and if it wasn't for the Mae Young Classic implications of it, it would not have made television. I guarantee that. They are very specific about what they will and won't present on NXT TV. That match would not have made air.
Mm-hmm.
As you said, though, I completely agree about the main event. Aleister and Johnny was simply a means to an end in order to get us to the option of having the setup for the triple threat there. Aleister and Johnny in a singles match is a money match for NXT, and it made 0 sense to give that away on free TV.
Yeah.
One word review, Brandon. What do you got?
I'll do one of my hyphenated words. I'll say hit and miss, like you were talking about. The Nikki Cross match. While it's good to see her get a win, it wasn't really necessary, and I don't know why she's still in NXT. The Jauode and Kassius Ohno match. I get what you're saying, and I completely agree with you. It should have been someone else in that spot, because I think Jauode should have been someone who, when they thought the time was ready to actually bring him up as a guy to look to as as a potential star and as someone that can move up the ranks. But now this kind of just relegates him to he's just a jobber right now. The Keith Lee match was good. I like that. We talked about the Conti thing a lot. The Conti and Vanessa Bourne match is what it is. And then the Gargano Ciampa match, or the Gargano Black match, was just a means to an end type thing.
I'm going to go with disappointing, which by NXT standards, saying a 6 is disappointing is saying something about the traditional quality of that show.
Mm-hmm.
There's no standout match. There's no standout angle. The Velveteen Dream and EC3 thing is an experience to be certain, but it's going to be very divisive towards a modern wrestling fan base and towards a traditional wrestling fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I lean on the side of I'm in favor of pushing the boundaries of what professional wrestling is capable of, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. That was definitely the best part of NXT this week.
But I can definitely understand how people would find that as kind of killing the business, in a sense, as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with disappointing, which is weird to say about an NXT television show. What do you say we do this again next week for the go-home, Brandon?
Let's do it.
All right, real quick, before we get out of here, a couple quick plugs. First, the first plug that I want to make here is the fact that the Kickoff's college football preview got slightly delayed. By the time you listen to this on the W2M family of networks that air the podcast that we do, the Kickoff should be coming soon to those same networks. We're hoping to record Sunday night, have it up late Sunday night, early into Monday morning. We'll keep everybody updated about that. We then return the following Wednesday for our AFC conference preview edition of the Kickoff. In addition, Brandon and I do SmackDown and 205 Live. Brandon has fantasy football to the max. I have the Raw reactions on Monday night. Brandon traditionally does the Raw review here on the W2M network. However, there has been some issues with people scheduling. We're hoping to get that back up and running as soon as possible. We'll keep you updated. And I think that's going to about wrap it up. Oh, yeah, How the War Was Won is coming after football season, just due to the fact that I don't think I'm going to be able to mix both in.
Yeah, no, there's no way we're going to be able to do all of that in a week.
Especially with all of the football that I watch during the course of a given week, because I watch like the weekend's college games that I didn't watch on the Fox College sports stations.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I'm not going to have enough time to catch up with any more wrestling during that downtime. The only wrestling I'm going to be able to catch is the live stuff that I watch in the week. So How the War Was Won is going to have to wait until after football season.
Which works. That can basically replace the Kickoff during the off season.
He's Brandon Biskobing. I'm Harry Broadhurst. And for Adam Cole,
bye-bye.
This has been the Wrestling to the Max NXT review for August 8th, 2018. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday for the go-home episode of NXT Television before TakeOver Brooklyn 4. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next time.